Hi, welcome to Navigating the Truth on KCR Radio. And my guest today is Zo'i Graestonne, and it is February the 12th, 2023.
I can't hear you, but you can hear me, right?
We interrupt to bring you this.
We've hijacked your daily dose of regurgitated news to bring you Navigating the Truth. Brace yourself, listeners, as you're about to enter a world where the narrative is no longer masqueraded as the truth. A world where the conspiracies of yesterday's translate into the truths of today.
Are you listening?
The veils covering the truth are lifting, and understandings once suppressed are finally being revealed. Will you be ready? And now, your host and navigator through these circles of lies, the host of Navigating the Truth, Caroline Bell Tumblety.
Hello, welcome to Navigating the Truth, and I believe we are February 12th. Wow, we're just flying through this year. I mean, we just had New Year, and we're halfway through February. So today, I have an awesome guest. I have Zo'i Graestonne, Miss B. Zo'i Graestonne is a creator, a published artist, a manifestor. She is an anomaly. Let me see here. And full of boundless energy. Perhaps this is why she attracts so many entities into her existence. Zo'i has worked with all kinds of people in her life growing up in the theatre and around the opera. She is the daughter of an empath and of an artist. On all sides of her family tree, she has creators and musicians, artists, authors, and magic. Coming from a predominantly Celtic bloodline, Zo'i is able to heal, see auras, and communicate with ET and supernatural beings. Originally from Boulder, Colorado, she has lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Eugene, Oregon, where her spiritual journey has granted her countless experience that she has been granted the ability and desire to share. She currently resides in Austin, Texas. However, just before we came live here, Zo'i is actually back in Colorado. So welcome, Miss B.
Hello, I'm very excited to be here.
I am so happy to have you here. And that is quite a bio.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're back in Colorado and you have a Patreon where you display your art, which is really, I find your art joyful to look at. It always makes me smile. Yeah, it makes me smile every time you put up something you're working on. And you have characters, you have all these different ideas that you're working to put together. Is that right?
Yeah. You're making me blush. That makes me feel so good about myself. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, I have sorry, I'm getting over bronchitis too. I have a slew of characters that I'm trying to sort of reintroduce to the world because for a long time I was really nervous because when I was younger I grew up around some people that were published artists that felt like people were always stealing their ideas and stuff, and a lot of people told me that either people wouldn't like my stories or all my ideas would be stolen and don't ever share them. And so I really fought for a long time with how to present my stuff. And with all the crazy stuff I've gone through the last few years, I haven't really been able to connect with my characters as much. And so recently with the Patreon, I feel a lot more open to like share stuff because it's someplace that I can share them. And if people want to come see them, they can. And if they don't, well, you're missing out. They got some cool stuff.
Oh yeah, they're missing out. They definitely are. You had taken pictures, like photographs, and you put them. They're really like you have a way of capturing something, and you've probably heard this before. But there's all like a mystery. There's like I always see this mystery in your photographs and in your artwork. It's always like there's much more to the story, you know?
Oh, thank you. Oh gosh, no, I've never heard no one said that to me before. That makes me feel so good. I'm so glad that that comes through in my photos. That's very
Oh, it
exciting.
does. Definite. Yeah, it does. And your digital work, like
Oh,
you,
thank you.
like it's like an iceberg. Like it's like I'm looking at an iceberg, and I know that there there's a lot more going on there.
Oh, that makes me feel so good. That makes me so happy. I love it. I love that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. There's one character that I would like you to kind of talk about, and I don't know if I'll pronounce his name right. Is it Zeus? But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. See, I find
Oh,
him
I'm so
really
excited.
interesting. Yeah,
Yay!
talk about this character. Yeah, tell me about
Oh
your
my gosh.
character.
So he's kind of a combination of me and another person that was in my life for a while. And so when I draw him, he kind of comes off more physically like the other person, but personality wise, he's a lot more like me. And the idea behind him is that for the story I'm kind of building and the world I'm building around him, everyone wears a mask. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like a take on the social media world. Everyone's got these costumes you can put on, like in video games you can wear
Oh yeah,
skins or
yeah.
or whatever. And so I kind of wanted to bring that forth in some of my storytelling with this particular story with this person, because it was honestly like a fairy tale. Like the whole ride of it still kind of is, even though we're not really in contact right now. But I felt like he and I connected because we both felt really disconnected from a lot of the mainstream stuff, and he and I could really connect on a lot of things that were deeper to me. And so I liked being able to, I mean, it was really like sad breakup, like a friend breakup between us. And so to sort of work through that, I was trying to like describe to myself like how my feelings were. And so with the character Zos, um, he's the only character in the entire story that has like a TV on his head. And
Yeah.
oftentimes I'll draw him with the cord wrapped around him, almost like he's tripping on it, or like it's kind of holding him back. Because in a way, I feel like me and the person he's kind of based on, I feel like we're so old school that we're wearing some way to project to other people that like we know how to connect to them and
Mm-hmm.
we want to connect to them. So like we had a different way of showing our connection, but people, it just still feels like people don't really know who we are or what we look like. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not so much that we're trying to wear a mask, is like we're trying to blend in with everybody.
Right.
But like for some reason there's just like a really intense disconnect. And so with his character, I wanted it to kind of show, how hard it is sometimes to be an artist and to be a little bit different than everybody else. Like maybe you don't fit in with the other artist crowd, like oftentimes he's in like a nice three-piece suit. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's always dressed like to the T, to the nines, he's always super fancy. And and then as I work through some of the story, a lot of the other characters are just going to be in a lot of like really casual clothes, just kind of tattered, like modern stuff. Like nobody
Right.
really
Mm-hmm.
nobody really dresses up. Nobody really cares about their image anymore. And the image that they do project is usually just, it's, I don't know, it's just, there's not a lot of class anymore. And I feel
No, it's
like,
ugly.
yeah, I feel like his
It's a
character
lot
is
of
just very
ugliness. Yeah.
classy. And he, in my story, some of the characters feel like he's kind of like left behind. He's stuck in the past, and he still wants to be a gentleman. He still wants to have romance, and he wants to have that old, he wants to fall in love and have, like a rom-com existence. And his existence is very sort of Blade Runner instead. And so he's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like caught in between. And so I
Yeah.
really like drawing him. He's fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I love the television for his head. I connected to that.
I love it.
Yeah, I did. Well, also the idea that a lot of the images that we actually are seeing are digital. They're kind of
Yeah,
digital. It's like movie screen. Like there's different. Like I don't know. Do you dream a lot?
I do. I have very, very ridiculously vivid dreams, to the point that my mom used to think that I was just making it up, but like they're just really vivid.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to
Yeah,
turn them into stories when I was a kid.
excellent. That like you talked about like a comic or a children's book?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, both. See, yeah,
Yeah.
you're a little dynamo there. All these creative ideas.
There's so many. I have such a hard time focusing on one, and that's why nothing has gotten put out really yet. Is there's I get I get very ADHD with my projects, and I just kind of bounce back and forth.
Yeah, you were doing crochet and knitting. Like I saw
Yes.
all these different like projects that you were working on, and also you put a painting up. You had started painting.
Yeah, I started painting again, and there's a drawing that I did years ago. I don't remember if I put it on my Patreon or not. I think I did. I think I did a comparison for a side by side. In 2012, I did like a little artist trading card because I was obsessed with those for a little bit. And I still have like a whole idea for that. But it was like a 2.5 by 3.5 like Bristol card. And so with my Copic markers, when I was first learning how to use markers and stuff, I was trying to pull out a character from a comic I was working on with some friends of mine. It's like a comic inception because it's a comic inside of a comic talking about the comic within a comic. And my friends and I used to make jokes about it all the time. And so I was looking at that drawing the other day and I was like, man, there's just so much missing to it. Like, it's such a simple idea and it could be so much more. And then we were at home and my roommate had COVID. And so we were just kind of hanging out and we were like, well, why don't we paint? And because we were all really painty, creative people. And they had a friend visiting from out of town. And so she was like an incredible artist. And she really inspired me to kind of tap back into it. And I just I had this like really intense vision of like an early 2000s movie poster, like of this character. And it gave me some idea between like, the Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow and like Astro Boy or like Treasure Planet. And so I was like, I gotta do this. So I started working on that right before I had to move very abruptly.
Yeah. So like, yeah, there's also one that's the cowgirl.
Yes. She's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, she's a whiskey slugging cowgirl.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she's my favorite. I just got my mom one for Christmas. I have hoodies and t-shirts and stuff with her on it. And I have one with Zo's too. But I had originally made her as a gift for a friend of mine, Mendon Hale, who's a country artist. And he has a song called Bad Girls, Good Whiskey. And it's just, it's such a bop. And he's really into Van Halen is his favorite band, and they had this T-shirt I saw at Walmart that was very pinup, and I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if I could recreate that, but like for Mendon Hale." And so for like an early Christmas present, when I finally got to see him in person, I was like, I had this idea, and I spent like 17 straight hours on it. I just like dove right into it, and it's one of the most fun projects I've ever done. Like I had such a blast the whole time. I recorded most of the process through pictures and like tweets, and people seemed really stoked. And then when I actually posted the final product, I don't think I've ever had so many compliments on any of my art. People really liked her, so I was like, this gives me like a new ego for my art and stuff. And so I tried to just kind of feed off of that sort of successful feeling I had, because I'd been kind of down and low for a minute. But man, I'm so proud of her. She's legitimately one of the coolest things I've ever done. She's awesome. Just looks so good.
Yeah. It's so fun, just to look at. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of energy in it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're giving me a little bit of an ego. I'm so
Good. Yeah. People have to go visit your Patreon, like you're a really good artist, and you have you need a voice, you need
thank you.
You need your stuff out there. You need to be out there. So we're putting you out there, Zoe.
Yay, I appreciate that. That means a lot. It's been a long time that I've been trying to get my stuff out there. And people always told me when I was younger that they were like, oh, you're going to be so successful one day. And for the last 10 years, it felt like I was just invisible because I don't have the same style as everybody else. I have a very sort of old flavor to my art. A lot of folks see a lot of older artists in my stuff, which is true. Like my dad really liked pinup and stuff. And so there's a lot of artists that my dad was really into. And the biggest one is Frank Frazetta. And
Okay, yeah.
I love his art. I love it so much. I am nowhere near that level of skill, but I get a lot of inspiration from a lot of his work. And there's like one particular artist. I can never remember his name when I'm talking about it for some reason. And he's like one of the most famous like character artists. It was like in the 60s. He did all kinds of like really, really cool like gouache paintings and oh gosh, I can't remember his name.
Can you remember any paintings that he's done?
Off the top of my head, I don't know the names of any of them, but there's one that sticks out in my mind, and it was like a bunch of celebrities in a very like caricaturized painting. Like they were all hanging out at a famous,
like the drive-in.
Yeah, and there's like a bunch
a drive-in.
of them.
Yeah.
Let
me see. I'm going to see if I can find it.
he hides his. For anyone else who might know, he hides his daughter's name and all the art, and he did a lot of like political comics, a lot of like old school pinup.
I'm not getting it and coming.
I know
exactly
see him in my
who
brain.
You're talking about. I can see it too. Okay,
yeah,
Crazy Ed.
Man.
Wait a minute. It's Crazy Ed. Let's see here. No, this is the name of the guy's shop that's selling it. No, that's not it.
Gosh, if my dad was here, he'd be kicking me. Like, how can you not remember?
We'll get it.
Oh, man.
We'll get it.
It'll come to me.
It will come. But I know the painting. Like, is it Hollywood Drive? Is that it?
Hollywood Drive? I think that might be it.
Edward Hooper's. Wait a minute. Yeah. Let's see here. Edward Hooper. Yeah. Oh, God, it wants my email. Nighthawk. Is that it?
That doesn't sound familiar.
No, it doesn't sound right, doesn't it? No. I think that's a different one. Yeah, this is a totally different one. I'm away in the wrong direction here. But I do know the painting that you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, I was like,
yeah, it's got like
Norman
James
Rockwell.
Dean in it.
Norman Rockwell.
That's it. Norman
That's the
Rockwell.
one.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's like, dang it, how could I not remember his name? Yeah, I was like, I'm losing my mind. Norman Rockwell.
A great painting. Yes, yeah, it's a great painting. I think it's James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Humphrey Bogart. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, man, I don't know how to. I was like, I couldn't remember. I was like, it's a famous building, and there's a lot of famous people from like way back in the day, like Rat Pack, like
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think your cowgirl, she has elements of that. Like there's elements of that in that art. I love it. I just love it. I think it's a lot of fun. And you knit up a storm as well. Like you do these beanies and scarves and
I actually gosh, I haven't done like I haven't finished any of my knit projects like ever for some reason. And for a long time I was like, I don't know how to crochet. And my friend Damati one time in 2020, she and I have been friends since like high school. So she's tried to teach me for like 15 years. And in 2020, when the pandemic happened and I went from Texas back to Colorado temporarily, I just went to her house and I was like, look, I need something to do. Teach me, sit down until I get it. And then we sat down and she taught me a couple of basics. And then I went home, I turned on YouTube and I looked up a very specific pattern because I wanted to learn how to make dolls like really bad. Like there was a certain kind of doll I really wanted to learn how to make. And I just dove right into it and I was like, this is so much fun and it's so easy. And I had such a blast. I made tons of like little tiny people in 2020. I made a couple of characters of like my friend Erin Lacombe and some friends, sort of like internet friends of mine that are musicians, the Bourbon Brothers. And I made a couple of like little Miss B dolls for my goddaughters and a couple of friends. I made a bunch of kitty cats because my cat Bagheera was like internet famous for a little bit. And so and he's famous with all my friends. So I made a bunch of little like Bagheera plushies for people. And Bagheera. Oh yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, Jungle Book. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen pictures of your kitten or your cats. They're beautiful. You have
Yeah,
some
he
beautiful cats.
was. Thank you.
Oh, he passed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he passed away last March, very unexpectedly and traumatically, but
Oh,
it was one of those where he kind of looked at me one day and I was like, "It's time, huh, buddy?" And he was just like, "Yeah, I'm tapping out." And I was like, "I don't blame you." It's been a rough year. And but he was the best. I had him for almost 14 full years, and
wow.
I still have his little sister Cashmere. She's my calico.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I've got she just turned 12, which is really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got the kittens that I rescued, and I keep calling them kittens. They're over a year old,
Mm-hmm.
but they're so
Oh, they're
small.
kittens for a while. Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
I was like, they're little baby cats, and they're
Mm-hmm.
so cute. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always had cats. Like this is the first time in my life that I haven't had a cat. Like since I came back to Scotland, but my cats lived to like 21,
oh
19.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I had them for like lifetimes. Like when my daughter was born, like all through her life, she had a cat.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Oh, they're great. I love our fur babies.
Yeah, they're the best. My dad he raised one of my cats from when I was younger until I think she was almost 21 or 22, and she ended up having like a stroke, and he didn't know if she was going to have a good quality of life after that, and so she ended up
Yeah.
passing also. And I really wanted Bagheera to be like 30. I wanted him to like break the internet, and he ended up getting some health issues we weren't expecting and just kind of like rapidly just nose bombed. But he was an adventurous boy. He had a good life, and I know that when he decided to go, it was because it was time.
He was
And
ready. Yeah.
yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
I got some other stuff to do in the other realms. And
Yep.
um,
Yeah, I'm
he
pretty
sent
sure
me a
he's poking
tarot
his
deck.
head in. Yeah.
Oh
Sorry?
yeah. He sent me a tarot deck. He talks to
Oh,
me through a tarot
wow.
deck that has a bunch of cats
Oh.
in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny because the first time I did a tarot read, it was literally just a message from him being like, "I'm still here."
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
He's
so
checking in.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
So you read tarot cards?
I do. Fairly
Yeah.
recently, but yeah, I got really excited to do that. Really inspired by Solaris actually, because she and I
Mm-hmm.
talked about it for a long time, and she was like, "I think you should try it." She's like, "You're really intuitive," and then I just sort of happened upon a tarot deck one day, and I just kind of picked up from there, and it's been really cool. So
Yeah,
I
and interesting how these things come into your paths, like,
yeah.
and they seem to happen at the time when they're needed, or you pick it up and save it for later.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just found a tarot deck from The Hobbit that I had
Ooh.
that was gifted to me. I forgot about back in like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So it's technically my first tarot deck, and I found it the other day and was like, I didn't know I had this.
Wow. Well, it looks like, can you believe it? We're coming up on our first break, and stay tuned, listeners. If you have any questions for Zoe, like you can put it in the chat or you can call in, and we will be right back after this break.
You're listening to Navigating the Truth with Caroline Bell Tumblety, where the truth survives and the lies are exposed.
I just want to assure you that everything is under control. There's been no damage except for some temporary malfunction of the radio.
Come be a part of this awakening by joining us in chat or by calling our hotline at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers, find us on Skype at KCOR Radio.
We're pushing the ultimate frontier here.
Control must be maintained.
More disinformation exposed and the truth discovered. After a word from our sponsors.
1,000,000 miles till midnight. A story of timelines, artificial worlds, simulated races, and the galactic imprint. And the destiny of a blue world called Earth. 1,000,000 miles till midnight, written by Solaris Blue Raven, is a journey through the mind's eye which allows the reader to surf a wave of technological and multidimensional intellect, revealing a bridge between conscious design and the truth. A multidimensional bleed-through awakens the world of artificial intelligence to set sail into the frontiers of a vast multiverse, morphing planets and terraforming ascended worlds beyond the linear programs of a fated race. 1 million miles till midnight will awaken, inspire, prepare, and enlighten one to the many multidimensional states of consciousness and worlds we reside in. With every cell and atom, we are this truth and multiverse. 1 million miles till midnight. Written by Solaris Blue Raven. Available now at Amazon.com. Don't wait. Get your copy today.
1, 2, 3, 4.
To the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
I love the way it sounds.
Love the music. I listen all day.
The future of radio is here and now.
Alien Deceptions, a suspenseful sci-fi romance thriller by Tina Marie, featuring the tantalizing Erica Jones and the mysterious Russell Hamilton. An out-of-this-world book of fiction based on years of document facts and files the government does not want you to know about, at least not yet. Alien Deceptions by Tina Marie. Available now at Amazon.com or get a signed copy at TinaMarieEntertainment.com. Get your copy now.
Change your frequency, change your life with the Lemurian plug. The Lemurian plug is easy to control, it's simple to set up, and wireless. It helps to neutralize toxins and has restorative frequencies for healing. It also helps to protect you and your family from EMFs. The Lemurian plug is energy efficient and designed using ancient technology for a superior design. One unit can cover up to 1,000 square feet. This life-changing product is reasonably priced. And isn't you and your family's health worth a small investment? For more information on the miraculous effects of this plug or to purchase the Lemurian plug, visit thelumerianplug.com. That's thelumerianplug.com. The Lemurian plug is like nothing you've ever experienced. Order yours today.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas' #1 source for talk and new music.
How cool is that?
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Navigating the Truth, the one show that peels back the masks of the elite and exposes the truth we're not being told.
Here to warn you. You must not abuse the power you've been given. Eventually, you will lose control of that power and the whole world will suffer.
Come partake in the awakening by calling the show at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Give us a call now.
Those around the world, connect with us on Skype at KCOR Radio. Follow us on Twitter at KCOR Radio or use hashtag KCOR. Come engage in the discussion live in our chat room at www.kcorradio.com.
Our survival depends upon it.
Now, back to examining the narratives and uncovering the truth with your host of Navigating the Truth, Caroline Bell Tumblety. Caroline Bell Tumblety.
Hello, welcome back to Navigating the Truth, and I have an awesome guest with me today. I have Zo'i Graestonne, Miss B. Miss B, tell the listeners how they can find you.
Well, I'm pretty much at Miss B the Cat on almost all social media, mostly because someone else took Miss B after I'd had it for like 12 years. But I'm predominantly on Twitter and Instagram. I'm probably not going to be posting as much on Facebook because I keep getting post blocked for some reason. But I do have my Miss B the Cat page on Facebook if you're not big on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, although I haven't posted much there recently either. And then my Patreon. I also have a Ko-fi. I haven't posted much on there because a lot of people don't know that page as much. But those are probably the most predominant ways to find me.
What is the Patreon address? Like, is it Miss B?
I think it's Miss Yeah, I think it's Patreon/Miss B, but let me double check really quick.
Yeah, check that out.
Let's see. I always forget because I'm like, everything else is like Miss B the cat, but let's see. Yes, it should be. Let me see. One second. I always, like I said, I always forget because I'm like, what is. It is patreon.com/Miss B. It's one of the only places I'm just Miss B.
So. Miss B. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, everybody go check it out. Go take a look. She's got some absolutely awe-inspiring artwork there. So, like, what I want to talk to you also have a lot of anomaly activity around you, like ET contact, like spirit contact, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you open to sharing some of that?
Oh, of course. I love sharing those stories. So yeah, I actually, it started more consistently in like 2014 or 2015. When I think it was like 2014. I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, and had just started getting involved in like a UFO abductee support group with Misha Johnson in Vegas, and that's how I met Solaris. And so I was in a couple of these groups where people were talking about like MK Ultra and the My Lab experiences and different abductions and stuff. And at first I thought it was mostly, I joined it mostly because a couple of people in town were connected and I had told them my interest in certain things. And one of them gave me the starseed test, and it kind of blew my mind because I didn't realize that lots of people experienced the stuff that I did. Like when I was a kid, I would see like shadow people, and there would be beings that would visit me at night, and I just thought they were weird dreams. And there's one that I remember in particular, actually, where we were in the house that my mom and my brother's father built together, and there was this huge dirt pile outside of my window for a very long time, because we had dug up the land and like built like the whole house from foundation and stuff up, and the dirt just kind of like sat in this mountain in the backyard for a bit. And the moon would come in through my window, and so it would highlight. And so if I couldn't sleep, I would sort of imagine like hiking up this giant mountain, and there was like adventures and stuff that I would have like looking out the window. And one night there was a star that just kept getting really, really bright, and like it kept getting bigger in the window. And I was like, well, that's kind of strange. And then this entity just showed up. And as a kid, it reminded me of the fairy godmother from Pinocchio. And I don't remember it being male or female in particular. I just remember being really bright and really concerned about this like stressful feeling I was having. And I don't remember what was said, but I remember a journal entry from, I think about this all the time. There's this diary that I had as a kid, and there was a journal entry after that night where I talked about going into what I considered, what as a kid I called like my secret place in heaven. And I was talking about my brother before he was born, and talking about going to this like secret place in like this like heavenly space and these clouds, and there was all these people, and everything was like filled with gold and all this like warmth and this like really intense like happy place. And I felt like that being would come to me, and I would have these dreams of going to the clouds. And it wasn't until I started talking to Solaris more and Misha more, where they were like, you probably traveled through like actual stars, like stardust, like you were just like you were somewhere else. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of wasn't sure if I believed some of it for a while. And then I started having experiences in my apartment when my boyfriend wasn't home. And he's Russian. And so for a little bit, he thought it was funny, and we would talk about aliens and stuff, and we kind of bonded on like supernatural stuff and whatever. But then I started like researching things, and it all kicked off when I started looking into the Freedom of Information Act, and I tried to contact a congressman about some UFO sightings in Nevada. And all of a sudden there was this van parked outside our apartment for weeks that everyone claims I'm just misremembering, but like It was there for weeks, right
Mhm.
outside our bedroom window. And it was just a black van. And it was just very threatening for some reason. And I remember my boyfriend at the time just being like, we're not talking about aliens. We're not talking about conspiracies anymore. Like, I need you to shut up. Stop. Like, it's going to put us in danger. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, you're just messing with me because you know, you got a dry sense of humor, like blah, blah, blah. And no, like immediately after all that, I kept looking into stuff after he told me not to. And my phone stopped working. I couldn't access certain websites. My email was hacked, and I started seeing these huge, terrifying, like reptilian beings in my house. And they literally looked like giant gator men. It was like super unsettling. And at first I told myself I must just be hallucinating or something, because I was like, I had just started smoking weed and like it wasn't like a consistent thing, but I was like, I have to be stoned. There's absolutely no way that there is an anime character in my house right now. Like this is like this feels like Dragon Ball Z. Like what is happening? And then it just got more and more intense, and it started feeling more threatening, and like just weird things would happen. I was terrified of closets because I felt like there were things in my closets that were going to like pull me into an alternate dimension. And in my brain, that felt very illogical because I was like, that sounds crazy. Like, I'm going to have to go to the loony bin. Like, why am I having these thoughts? Like, what is going on? Like, it's just a closet. Yeah. And there was one time I had two friends over actually. And I had told them that I was seeing things. There was these like aliens in my house, and they didn't necessarily disbelieve me, but they were just as uncomfortable. And we were hanging out in our spare room, just like talking about it. And I was pointing out the van that was outside, and they were getting uncomfortable. And then we heard like a person in my closet, in the hall closet. And I remember my gal pal at the time, and she was like clinging on to me, and we had one of our older guy friends, and he's the one that actually got me introduced to my friend Talib, who I also met Misha through. And so it was just kind of funny, like the train of people that like led me into where I am right now. And part of it started with this experience where we heard a human being, it sounded like, in my closet. And I was like, someone has broken into my apartment. Like, what is going on? And they were like, holy cow, we could be in danger. And so our guy friend was like, I'll go check it out. And me and my girlfriend were like holding on to each other for dear life. And he opened the closet, and it looked like a human being jumped out at him, but was like transparent. And it pushed him into the wall and ran through the wall next to the front door and just disappeared. And I've never seen two people look at me with such terror in their eyes. And I must have reflected the same, because we all like screamed and freaked out and like ran outside my apartment, like got in his car and like drove somewhere else. I think we went to like Jack in the Box or something to like sit down and process it. But after that, I was like, okay, this stuff is real. Like two other people experienced that at the same time. Like there's no way that I'm crazy. Like this is a real thing that just happened. And all kinds of stuff would just happen after that. There was a point where I was having such intense abductions that I would constantly wake up and go tell my mom about it. And she was like, I don't know how to think or feel about any of this, but I've never seen you be so sure of something ever. And I'm terrified because this sounds absolutely bonkers. But my mom had watched some crazy stuff happen. So she was like, something's happening. I don't know what it is. Something is clearly happening here. And my brother still contends that I should be in a loony bin, because he walked in one time after I was convinced I was being hit with like an ELF radiation, and I put tinfoil on my head because I didn't know what else to do. It was the only thing that stopped my head from feeling like it was on fire. And my brother walks in, and I was making a tinfoil hat for a friend of mine, and my brother was like, Mom, I'm concerned. Like, is she okay? Like, and
I know, but it's like you have these things that are happening, and where do you turn to for help? You know, and there are a lot of people out there saying put tinfoil, you know, protect the. Like, I knew a person long time ago, and she was the same. You know, it was to protect like the harmful rays or like signals or whatever it was. So I mean, I also remember the first cell phone tower that went up in Woodstock, New York. And there was, I mean, this is over 30 years ago. there was this little man that lived up in Overlook Mountain, and he would come down to the village. Thank you for listening to Navigating the Truth with Zoe B. Graestonne. If you would like to hear the rest of the show, please go to kcrradio.com, and the archive there is free. Thank you.